we've got Mary Jameson, your oldest competitor at this year's semi-final event in the individual field, at 40 years old.
Which means she could have gone Masters, but she chose to go Indy.
She did. She could have gone Masters. She chose to go individual, but also still seating inside your top heat.
So what an incredible athlete. Her capability when it comes to moving a barbell is simply unparalleled.
And I think we might see a little bit of that coming onto the sled as well, because she's just a tank engine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, she's been at this for a while in terms of her CrossFit credentials in awards and, let's call it, competitions won, unparalleled. She's been at the top of the game at every single level within this continent.
And then just shifting over to Christina Libertakis, obviously coming second at last year's semi-final. She is here to punch the ticket to the games. Right there on the screen, Mariska Smith, her first year as an individual athlete, previously coming from team. But let's just take a step back and see what happens in this women's top heat.
Exciting times.
And our final heat of women for test number 1 is underway. As you can see, nobody jumping onto their assault bike and going all out for their first little batch of their 3,000 meters. Everyone jumping on, finding a rhythm very early on, and then just trying to stick to that. Relaxing that grip, trying to save your legs, and just breathing nice and calmly.
Great example we have here, just ensuring that you don't go too sendy out the gate and burn your engine out too soon. That's it.
So just going back to our previous 2 heats, we only had 1 or 2 ladies get back to their sled in their 3rd set in our first heat. Coming into the 2nd heat, we didn't have any of our ladies get off of that ski erg. Well, we had Max Clinsmith just finish the ski, but the rest of the ladies still stuck inside that 1,000 meter ski. However, in this heat, these are our top ladies, our top seeders, and we've got a feeling up here in the bird's nest, as Stretch like to refer to. We are hoping for at least 1 or 2 finishes.
Tanner Booth on the left side of your screen, lining up next to Mariska now. Fun fact, Matt, these 2 individuals put together what can only be described as super team at this year's Pretoria Throwdown. It was insane, and they dominated the field.
You're right. They did throw down at a local competition together, and now they qualified right next to each other in lane 6 and 7, going head-to-head for that 1 spot to Madison.
Absolutely. Training partners going head-to-head. It'll be interesting to see how this does play out over the course of the weekend. They both are incredibly skilled across the board.
Right.
Some areas stronger than the others, but I'm keen to see how they stack up in individual competition.
And there we have the lady of the moment, Mary Jameson, in lane number 1.
Check out the Insta profile, Scary Mary.
Yeah, Scary Mary on Instagram. And a pioneer of the sport, a massive name in the South African CrossFit community. And she just goes over and above, more just running her own CrossFit box, but setting up a foundation as well, what's called Project Fit Soweto. If you guys haven't checked that out, definitely check that out. And Mary is the force behind that.
It seems like it's only fitting to have a Viking be her judge for the course of the weekend.
As we approach the 4-minute mark now, we saw a couple of ladies in the previous heats getting off their bike towards the 5-minute mark, so we could expect a few people moving on to their first round of sleds fairly soon. And there it is. Mariska Smith is first off of her assault bike. Mariska and Tana lane right next to each other.
Yeah, look, as we've seen in previous heats, Matt, the time that you've taken on the assault bike is not necessarily indicative of where you might stack up towards the tail end of this heat.
We did see that in both previous heats. The woman leading off the assault bike and through the first set of sleds were not actually the woman that finished up top.
Mariska and Tana going head to head here right now.
And Mariska finishing off her first length of sled pulls. Tana Buffet in the back there, you can see taking a bit of a tumble. The weight's getting the better of her. And as you can see, these ladies walking their ropes back, just coming out of those little rebel tips that we had up on the screen earlier this morning. Recovery on walking the rope back. That is the best time that you are not actually working, you are not under duress. You can take a little bit of a slower walk, catch a breather, turn around, and start your fresh round.
Absolutely. Using that time to just, one, get your lungs back underneath you, but also that grip factor for this is really being taxed.
On screen now, we've got Laura Hume. Laura coming out of CrossFit Kaima, out in Zimbabwe. So she was born in Zimbabwe, still trains in Zimbabwe, and has qualified in the top 10 for the women's individual competition. As you can see on your screen now, Mary Jameson is bringing up the back of the field. She is in lane 1, closest to the bottom of your screen at the moment, and just almost a length behind the rest of the ladies. Mariska Smith turning around now and heading back for her final sled pull before making her way to the assault runner. I can already let you in a little secret, Ken. Mariska is probably one of the strongest runners in the field.
Oh, really?
I've seen it at a couple of local competitions as well down in the Western Cape. We come from the same part of town, and her running is very good.
I mean, that might mean something truly dangerous for the rest of the pack, given she's currently in the ascendancy even on the sled pull.
I could swallow my words as we get as we get through this a little bit
Matt,
later
I've
on.
not known you to be wrong to date. I don't think you're about to start being wrong either. Maybe not visually the most challenging part of the workout, but it really is a tricky one to handle. We've got Scary Mary, who has absolutely gone and mauled that rope.
I must
And
mention
she's back on the rower. Like, Matt, how did we even miss that?
I thought Mary was at the back of the pack. She was leading the pack by a length, so I do apologize for that. Mary leading the pack and absolutely blasting through her 3 lengths of rope pulls.
Mary Jameson, an absolute OG of the game, at 40 years old and moving like an absolute machine. But if you've ever seen her address a barbell, oh my word, like, it is absolutely beautiful to witness. It is a mauling of the most cataclysmic persuasion.
And in lane number 3 as well, we've got Alzaan Goosen. She's also onto her assault runner for the 2,000 meter assault run. Looking down the line, lane 6, Mariska Smith, she is on the runner. And then in lane 9 and 10, Emma Ollie and Laura Hume, both on their runners as well.
I must say, Matt, although this event is quite long, a truly fascinating event to watch, because what we've seen to date, or at least from the little bit of data we can gather from the previous 2 rounds, is generally the person who gets off the assault bike is not the person who ends up winning or is able to hold that lead onto the second cardio implement.
That's true. The person that just in the past has been getting onto the assault runner first hasn't necessarily done that well towards the back end of the workout. But we have Scary Mary, and she is ready to prove us wrong.
Absolutely, and you know what? For all intents and purposes, I'm happy she does.
Gemma Radar on your screen now. Also a very good athlete that's been in the scene for a long time. South African, was from the Western Cape and has now moved to CrossFit Yas. Has also been to the CrossFit Games on a team with CrossFit Yas. So she's coming back. She's in her individual prime as she qualified. Going to give it a crack as an individual this year.
So Matt, going back to a conversation we had earlier around stylistic shoe choice for this portion of the run, and I must admit, I think you hit the nail on the head. I personally would have gone for something with a little bit of a drop on the heel, but as you've so well articulated, the moment you start to pivot that same shoe choice through to the sled pull, you're probably losing some critical torque in that movement.
Yeah, and I think, well, there'll be a couple of ladies to prove us wrong. I think Mary is running in a traditional runner, but if we have a look over to Mariska Smith, she seems to be in a flat shoe over there in the middle. So yeah, it's all about what you pick, I think, whatever you're comfortable in.
Mariska deciding to take a little bit of a break on the run there. I don't know if you saw that, but maybe she's breaking it up. Maybe this is her strategy for the weekend.
Alzaan Goosen has made her way to the 2,000 meter run, but kicking things off very lightly with a walk, just trying to recover a little bit out of that sled before dropping into a jog. Gemma Rader with her last little bit of the sled pull. And last to the 2,000 meter run is Gemma, lane number 4.
Yeah, look, Matt, I know you mentioned quick tidbit on
Christina completely resting. Sorry to butt in there, Kent. Christina's just taking a full stop, rest, a bend over, and then she carries on going.
We have seen this strategy implemented in previous rounds, not having paid dividends to date yet, but it could be an individual athlete's preference to want to attack it as such. Matt, you did mention earlier Mariska, an incredible runner. She really is looking smooth right now.
her fitness is, you know, out of this world. So coming from more on the farm side of the Western Cape, I think, you know, comfortable with the dry air and all of that. Yeah, Mariska's fitness is very, very good. As you can see there, a little shot from the screen, Mary approaching the 1,000-meter mark on her runner, just passing the 900.
Matt, you mentioned Mariska is really good at the running portion of this, and she is looking smooth at the moment. Don't doubt the cumulative fatigue now starting to settle in, but really looking smooth at this portion of the workout.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, these legs are just becoming heavy. These legs are going to start feeling like lead pretty soon. You've just gotten off your 3,000-meter bike. You've done a 3 lengths of 80 kilogram sled drag. And now you need to drag those legs through a 2,000-meter run.
Yeah, that's a lot. It truly, truly, truly is. But let's see who's going to be the first to hop off that assault runner and get started on their final set of sled pulls before pivoting through to the ski erg. Also to mention, we've just passed the midpoint of this workout in terms of time cap. So, as mentioned, if we are to see anybody come under time cap, you'd be a wise individual to bet that it's going to come out of this workout. Looking across the field, you can see Mariska really settling into a nice pace relative to the rest of the field, Matt.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, just hitting that halfway point on the time cap and looking at the meterage on Mary Jameson's assault runner, she's pretty much exactly through the halfway point of the work to complete in this workout as well. So 1,000 meters left to run, a set of sleds, and then a 1,000-meter ski. There's still quite a surmountable amount of work to get in the next 14 minutes.
Absolutely. We're seeing some athletes now enter into the final 500, as you can see on your screen right now in the assault fitness monitor for the assault runner. Tough workout, long workout, extremely grindy workout.
And I don't know if you could just see there on Mariska's screen, she's still running a 4:55 pace, which is, that is fast.
Yeah, especially when you consider, I guess, the average height of the male athletes versus the female athletes. The men are coming with a little bit more height, and that height does transfer into distance. So 4:55 on the lady side is blitz, Matt.
Mariska taking a little break again. As you can see, we've got Gilmarie Reneka's judge's hand up. She's in lane 3, so definitely making a big comeback on the run.
Down to the final 300 now and looking to make a statement at the tail end here. Another athlete who had a phenomenal showing at this year's Pretoria Throwdown just before the Open had officially kicked off. Matt, her gymnastics on next level.
Oh, I can't wait to see that then, because tomorrow we've got a workout that is not shy of gymnastics.
One might even refer to it as gymnasty. Gilmarie looking to run away with this one, excuse the pun, but That's the only way to articulate it at the moment.
200 meters to go for Gilmarie Renica.
Incredibly relaxed running style, Matt. Like, you could tell there is a lot of speed there, but it doesn't look like she's taking on a lot of fatigue doing it.
All we can do is hope that she's able to still hang on to this pace. Obviously, if running is her kind of forte, then she's still able to carry this through the next set of sleds and ski erg.
Absolutely. In fact, she's about to hop off, and we're about to see her get off in just a matter of seconds.
Still no other judges' hands up in the air, so Gilmarie Renica must have gained quite a large lead. She is the first woman off of the 2,000 meter assault run.
Matt, truly impressive, hopping off of the back of that 2 kilometer with a massive lead and wastes no time to get that rope and get back on it. Really walking with purpose and attacking that rope.
But again, that's where the experience in the CrossFit game comes from. If you are able to minimize your transitions, minimize your rest periods, you know it always comes down to a matter of reps.
Absolutely. We're noticing that relative to the rest of the field, she's got a very high stance at the beginning of that pull. Not really dipping her hips, and as I say it, she went and put her hips very low into that movement.
But I honestly think that might be coming from them starting to, feel the fatigue build up in their legs. Just changing the stance a little bit to try and, change up the muscle grouping that they're using.
Very well articulated. Lanes 9 and 10 we're looking at right now.
Emma Ollie just jumping off of her 2,000 meter assault runner in seconds, also making a nice big comeback. Laura Hume over here in lane number 10, right behind Emma in lane 9.
It's been a fascinating workout, Matt, just in terms of the people who are making big moves early in the workout. As we mentioned, are not the first people, and we're seeing Mariska get off of her runner and onto that rope, although it has to be said, it does look like it's taken its toll on her.
So let's have a look. I mean, I might be biting my tongue on her running pace, but these other ladies running at a 4:55 pace is unbelievable for a 2,000 meter run in the middle of sled pulls.
Absolutely, Matt. And that after like a massive amount of work. I'll be honest with you. Give me a kilometer to do fresh, I'm not hitting that pace.
That was Emma Ollie on your screen over there. And here we got Gilmarie Renica, the first woman off of the assault runner and already back onto her second length. And this is all new territory over here for Mariska Smith. An unbelievable teams athlete, but never competing by herself on the individual level. So it'll be interesting to see how she actually handles this weekend, Kent.
I'm really excited to see because I know that she has an incredibly well-rounded game. This particular version of the sled pull definitely different in the sense that we've had sled pulls in competition before. This newer, slightly more rudimentary design does pose a slightly different challenge. But I guess as the nature of the programming this year is concerned, there are some interesting challenges that have been posed to these athletes.
And heard Mariska Smith's judge being very serious about that movement standard, 2 centimeters out from crossing that line.
Mary back on the on the sled, and Matt, as we saw in the last round, when Mary gets on a sled, it's a formality.
Well, as you could see there from her last pull, what we could catch on screen, that was a massive jump of the sled. This is lane 10, nearest to the bottom of your screen now. Now we've gone to the opposite side. Focusing on Mary over here in lane number 1. In lane 3, Gilmarie Renica still leading the pack. As you can see, she's heading back for her third length of sled pulls.
Comfortable lead for Gilmarie at the moment, but definitely that cumulative fatigue catching up right now.
And I definitely think that Mary Jameson could be a force to be reckoned with on the ski erg.
Very good point, Matt. I've not considered that. She's got the height and she's got the weight to be able to pull that very nicely. That coupled with the fact that she's still looking relatively fresh on this portion of the workout, I think we might have a Gilmarie versus Mary race in our hands here.
On your screen now, you've got Christina Levitakis and Gemma Rader. Christina, the favorite coming into this event, but still struggling to get through that 2,000 meter salt run.
Yeah, look, Matt, I think it's important to note that although every single workout is important in terms of finish, it is a long weekend. There are 7 events, and whether it is a great finish for you or damage control, you've got an entire 7 workouts to try and state your dominance.
That's it, and as you just said, this doesn't come down to who can win every event. This comes down to who can stay consistent across the course of the weekend. So already here we can see Gilmarie Renica taking a big break in the middle of the field. And we know that Mary Jameson is back onto her final round of sled pulls. I think we might see a massive attack coming from Mary.
Big move here by Gilmarie, who now gets started on that ski erg. The real question we've got to ask ourselves, Matt, is just how far is Mary behind?
And judging by the time on the clock, we've got just over 5 minutes remaining. This should leave plenty of time for these athletes to get back into that sled because, you know, 1,000 meter ski erg is quite a common thing that they would all be doing in their boxes. I don't foresee the times being further than 2.5 minutes on this.
Loving how methodical Gilmarie's being about her work right now, making sure she's nice and tall at the top of that pull and utilizing that full range of motion. Not necessarily one of the taller athletes, but at this point of the workout, with this level of fatigue currently in your system, you often tend to compromise a bit of the movement. But Mary making her move right now.
And just from the booth here, we can hear the crowd definitely getting behind Mary. But as we mentioned before, a favorite in the CrossFit scene in South Africa and a favorite here at this event.
Gilmarie a quarter of a way into her work with a little over 2 minutes left in this workout. Laura Hume here getting to work on that ski erg. Just under 1.5 minutes remaining. Matt, at this point, you really don't have any other say as an athlete on that floor but to go full send. You've got to empty the tank here.
Yeah, when it comes down to this, obviously 3 minutes left on the clock, but it's a race, and it's, as we said before, it's down to the meter now because just judging by the last 2 events, majority of our ladies got stuck on the ski erg. And you know what it's like. You can pull a ski and still gain on 5-10 meters. So how hard are they really willing to go to try and get the ski out the way and back onto that sled?
Absolutely, Mary in view right now with just under 40 seconds left in this one. It's going to be a dogfight towards the end, but let's see how this stacks up towards the end of the race. Mary coming in with this one as a potential favorite. 2.5 minutes left in this one.
We can see
Mariska
Mariska
pulling
Smith
for all she's worth.
She is back onto the skier and definitely not leaving anything behind there. She's going to try and make a big comeback on the ski erg. 5 ladies back onto the ski now in our 3rd heat of the women's test 1 here at the Rebel Renegade Games. 2 minutes remaining on the workout.
It's interesting to look at the different approaches here. So Gilmarie's got a nice full extension from top to bottom, ending at the bottom. And if you watch Mariska, she's got a bit of a follow through off of the tail of the bottom, maybe giving her an extra few meters at the bottom of her stroke.
I've seen this in the past. When it comes to the ski erg, I don't think there's a machine that has more variations of technique from athlete to athlete. Some very suspect techniques, mostly just in your local CrossFit box.
Gilmarie wrapping up her ski erg portion with just over a minute to go.
She's got 50 meters remaining.
30 meters. And she's about to lock it up. Matt, she might still get one more pull in, which would put her in contention to take the event win.
Yeah, just going back to our first of our women's heats, we had one of our women finish a full length of sled pull.
So all to play for here for Mariska. Gilmarie starting to get on that sled pull. Watching the clock methodically, Matt.
And every one of those 2.5 meter increments counts as a rep towards her score. So
pulling for everything she's worth. 25 seconds left in this one. She's definitely going to be pulling to try and get that done, to try see that she can lock up this event win. It's a heavy load. 10 seconds remaining in this one.
And just over there on the right of your screen, you can see Christina Levitakis not willing to start again. And that is time for the workout. Gilmarie Renica taking the heat win. We're going to have to go back and see just how far that sled was pulled in the first heat. Mary Jameson putting in a massive effort, almost finishing that ski erg.
Absolutely, and big shout out to these ladies for putting in an absolute incredible performance.
All right, we just got word that Gilmarie won this heat, and we'll be going down to the floor for a little post-match interview between Stretch and Gilmarie Renica.
Hey guys, we're here with female event one winner, Gilmarie. How are you feeling, darling?
I'm fine. I'm not that tired.
Not that tired. You realize you just worked out for half an hour and you're still not that tired. How are you looking for the rest of this weekend now, having one win under the belt?
I'm just here to keep everybody busy.
So that's your game plan, keeping everybody busy. Now, tell me something. Going into event number 2 for the day, you've now got a big target on your back. How are you going to shrug off that, or do you look forward to the pressure?
There's no pressure. I'm here just for the fun.
I suppose that's what it's all like. Every single athlete out here having the best. One ticket to punch and on to the games. Do you hope it's you?
No.
Fair point, fair point. Nice work. I'm going to let you recover and get ready for event number 2.
Matt, incredible flourish at the end there. We can see these ladies in this highlight reel getting onto that bike. As mentioned, interesting event, right? First person off the bike getting the early ascendancy generally is not the person to take the W.
Yeah, that's definitely what we saw, and that trend kind of stuck through the whole way. Just relaxing a little bit through the first set of machines and then really making a big comeback, just probably by saving those legs, keeping that lead out of the legs coming onto the run. We saw in our final heat more ladies than in previous heats actually stop on the runner to rest.
I think we have a bunch of truly incredible athletes here, but it's so interesting to witness that when it comes to game time, although you might have been performing incredibly in your box for the quarters as well as the open, the moment you put yourself in front of a crowd, the BMT really gets questioned.
Yeah, but what an incredible show there by Mary on your screen that we have now. She came hot out the gates. We didn't even see her in the first lane. And then just getting caught by Gilmarie Renica through the run, it seemed. But she just managed to come past, take that first place, and just hang on to it for the rest of the event. So an absolutely incredible show by Gilmarie Renica.
Yeah, you have to applaud the pure methodical approach that she'd taken to wrap up that event W.
All right, we're going to leave you just to have a look at these event highlights, and we'll be back soon as we get geared up for the men's Heat 1 of event number 1.